Alright, so here I am with the part 2 Jason sculpt that I did initially for a silicone mask. And I thought I'm going to do a transformation. Going to make it into a part 7. Already, in just a couple of minutes, I found the eye from Force Field Studios that I got for the character for reference for painting the eyes. And I put that in there, drilled that out, drilled out a hole in my form so I could put the eyes back in, because as you can see on the character, it's very recessed. So I need the eye to be as close to the form as possible so I can get accurate depth and everything to it. Because the thing is I want it to be a recessed eye, very similar to the actual character. So all I'm doing now is just filling in some areas and then going on and cutting out the damaged areas, the basic areas like the bone structure here on the eye. I got to chisel that down. A lot of this structure is already going to maintain. I got to do the nose, so I'm already going off the photos and sculpting parts where the nose would be, and then the lift here, which is to be widened and flattened. So, you know, it's going to be a shaved down, a little bit shaved down, and more true to the character, but as close to the original as I can get, because it was flat, but it wasn't flat. So, right now I'm just going to put in some clay here and just kind of do this brow the way that it's supposed to be fit for the angry look. Against the nose. So a little bit more protrusion right here on this particular character in the brow area. This is just basically setting it up. This is not anything details and all that crap. Not yet, anyway. Just getting this set up to form the structures and the look. Got little bits of pieces and shit in here. Now you're working off of 2 photos, this one and this one. But more so this one, because it has that angry look that I want to capture in this sculpting. I'm just going to do basic shape form here with the cheekbones and all that. Now this was sculpted already like a 3/4 mask, so I may not need to add so much as I need to take away on some of it. So that's the whole thing there that, you know, I can do as well. All I'm doing now is in general face shapes here. It does help that I did sculpt a, you know, part 2 on there, so I have the basics already down. I just need to add some layering to it to thicken it up and shape it out. At the same time. Now some of this area here I'm going to recess. I'm not even going to add to it in the lips. Got to shape that down. So what I'll do, take this. I've got to concave the nose here a little bit. And we'll pull that almost entirely off the form. Right there. And then pull this nostril out. Right here. See, it goes down to the actual sculpting form right there. So, you know, I can use that and lateralize that with shaping the nose over it. All I'm going to do is just put a little clay on the tip there. Form that in. Just shape that around. And then, of course, I've got to come down along the side here and carve this out because there's no tip. There's an end to the nose right there, but there is no tip. And that's where that will come underneath. And of course you build out just a little bit. You don't recess it. Recess it right there. Just kind of build away from it. But I can pull that down further and shape that to where the tip becomes part of the nose thing, and then the cavity down here. And of course, I have to reshape the mouth. Now I've got a set of teeth that I got from Brad. Got a mold actually from Marcus Medina, who got it from Brad, who actually does the teeth molds. And I'm going to see if I can't put and implement a set of teeth in here on top of this. When I shape this out, the mouth comes down here, and then that little line, the little glue sticks, super glue stretchy thing comes right across here. The super glue line comes right about there, because it stretches out. So I just put that in there and just place that. Because that's part of the lip. It comes down and stretches. And then you got to sculpt the lip. You got to cut and concave the lip a little bit here. Make that a deeper recess. We'll keep the lip. Now, I've already sculpted this initially to the depth of what would be a silicone mask. So, let me see if I can bring you guys up closer. Get all this stuff in the way. Bottles and stuff like that. And there we go. So, what we initially want to do is just kind of come away from the character. Take this lip and shape it out a little bit. So we can have that fat lower lip. Recess this mouth down in here into a thing. and then curve this down like so. Now if I need to, I can add clay to it, or I can take clay away. What I really want to do is get a set of those teeth and put them in here later on, and just kind of show you the basic structure and, you know, build up on the chin a little bit. And get that basic structure. Now, it's going to take a few days because I'm going fishing Sunday. I'm doing another fishing trip with my brother out on the coast. Flounder season's hitting, oh shit. Where's my thing right here? I'll take my tool, see if this lip back a little bit. Because it wasn't really a fat lip. It's all decayed and rotted and thinned down, so you got to recess that lip a little bit. It'd be nice if I had a three-dimensional thing to work from. I might pull out the little scale model I've got of this from NECA and use that as well. But right now I'm just going flat, two-dimensional on a photo. Now this by no means is a extraordinary piece of work. I mean, this character's been done so many times by so many people. Thing is, I get customers going, do you have the Part 7 mask? Do you have the hands? And I'm like, no, I don't, but I need to sculpt them. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. I'm going ahead and sculpting this into a Part 7. The problem with using this photo is his mouth is open, so it stretches differently than the relaxed fist off thing. So now what I need to build up, what I need to take away from. go ahead and haul this nose out because that's that right where I want it. See, this is not going to be flat to the face, sculpting. This is going to have the recessions in it, like it should. A lot of people are just sculpting and it's flat on the face. And I'm like, nope, we're going to have recessions in the face and all that shit. It's already ½ inch deep. So that's not going to be the issue. I'll come along the side of the head here real quick. Well, let me build this up here. I'm going to have this area here along the side of the face sticking out. Right here. Put that down. That's where a tip spot on his face is. Come mark that right below the eye. And I'm going to sculpt around the eye and I'm going to make that a recess. Recessed eye socket. And we're going to put a little bone right there. See if that's that lower bone. And just carve away here. A little bit. Because I want that eye socket to be in there. That's going to be the eye socket right there. Get that shaped out. And of course, gotta shave this down. It's gonna be the bone, but it's gonna be predominant, so what I'm gonna do is shape that. Now some of this is going to be carved in a little bit on the side of the head. And of course we got to go in here and do this line detailing right here around the where we're going to sculpt the skin details around the head. And I'm going to get in and get as many side shots and stuff as I can get on this, but just going to do a rough outline here of where that's going to go. Okay, then you can't have anything without having a machete wound. I know that's premature, but I'm just going to put the machete wound line right alongside the head, and it meets the middle of the eye, right there. I've got to fatten the cheek up a little bit. I've got to bring some bulkiness into his cheek here. Add clay right there. Trying to fatten that out. Right up where that damage is where I want to fatten that cheek up, right here. Of course, we got to cut out the, the thing about the side of the mouth. I got to get that. I'm just going to score this area here where these teeth will go. I know when I'm going there. I'm inside the head. I'm going to go ahead and take this out all the way down the form, pretty much. That's a line, just so I can go and lay those teeth in. I don't know if I'm going to use a set from the actual mold, or if I'm just going to mold the teeth themselves and put them in there. I may just do that. This is already recessed pretty deep, so I'm going to get good recession deep in the side of the mouth where his teeth will go. So like I said, I've already built up the clay on the previous sculpt. So all I gotta do is just go in here, implant molars inside here, and just put them in there and sculpt around them, form all that, and then I'll have teeth indentions where I can put real acrylic resin teeth into the mask instead of sculpting them like most everybody else did. Everybody always sculpts the teeth and shit, and they don't look realistic. But they're painting and all that. And it's like, well, you know what? They don't take initiative to put real teeth in there, so that's what I'm going to do. Right here, looks like there's a little bit more of the, when I have butthole chin, so I'm going to make that, and then sculpt that in there. Real predominant front of the chin here. Almost like a crooked kiefer chin, really. It comes right up to that dividing line right there. It's not thick out, but you get the idea where that's going to go. I'll have to get a couple more reference photos and shit. Like a 360 degree type thing. And do that. indentation right there. Of course, it'll get rounded off here. Let's get this and get this and just pull that down more. I'm just starting out with this, so what you see is just a basic shape and it's not the final product. I want to get that mouth to look the same and that same indented yet concave look. Splitting his lip right there. Gonna mark that. Way too much clay right there. Listening. Now without the teeth in there, it's going to look a little funny. But at least they got the shape of the mouth down. So I'm going to put a little bit more on this orange brown here just to make sure that's fine on it. Right there. When that curve comes up and goes right alongside the head here, and it stops right at the nostril. And all of this is recessed eye. Of course, I have to give them eyelids and all that stuff. I'm going to do that. That'll be the detailing for it. But just the general structure of the face. I know this lip has to come down more and push that down right there. Now you can see the exposure of the inner mouth on the form. And that's where I got to go in and figure out, am I going to lay clay up here and sculpt this as a and then just make them fresh into the teeth and put them in there. So I'd have to do this lay clay on top of it just to cover it up. And then I can do this, the gum sculpting and put teeth in there. I'm just going to lay clay flat against the lips of the form, cover all that up. And then of course I'll have to sculpt in some gum work over that, and teeth, and draw them in there. But I can, like I use some of the lip texture on the form to do that with. Alright. So, need to get some, probably get some more this area right here on the nostril. Needs to come down, needs a little bit more of a faded shape, and then I'm just going to take that off. Come down. Oops, fucker. Once that's mind you, I'm just getting started with this. Just so you guys can see it, start to finish. Know what it came from, know what it's doing. remind you the recesses and all that shit on it. Exactly where it starts to be right now. I've got the basic foundation down. Put it that way. Let's just play around with it. I'll play around with it a little bit more. And try to get this about as firmly established as I can. Put more clay on there and dig away, do whatever it needs to be done. So it might take a while for this one, because I'm not going to sit out here for hours and hours and hours and work on it. Personal project, so I can take my time with it. Anyway, I don't know if you can see similarities, but there we go. It's a start. It's a start. Alright, so I'll see y'all on the next one.